Genryusai Shigekuni Yamamoto. Genryusai Shigekuni Yamamoto, Yamamoto Genryusai Shigekuni, was the captain of the 1st Division in the Gotei 13 and also the captain commander of the whole Gotei 13. His lieutenant was Chojiro Sasakaibe. After being cast into hell, he has gained the epithet of founder of the Gotei Kaiso, viz., court guard founder. Around 2100 years ago, Yamamoto was the Genryu founder and Genji school head instructor. At some point, Yamamoto founded the Gotei 13 as well. He sought out Yachiru Unohana, the most diabolical criminal of Soul Society and a master swordswoman, to join the group as one of the founding captains. Yamamoto was himself a teacher at this academy, and personally instructed Shunsui Kairaku and Jushiro Yukitake. He admits to being rather proud of the two. When they became captains, he boasted about them as though they were his sons. During Yamamoto's time as an instructor, Chojiro Sasakaibe routinely visited him, always referring to him as Ija Saidano, a reference to the large scar on his forehead, despite knowing it annoyed him. He insisted it would be wrong to use Yamamoto's real name. During one of his visits, Chojiro told Yamamoto he wished to be his right arm and compensate for anything which Yamamoto could not do. When Yamamoto told him to become his disciple, he declined. At Yamamoto's behest, Chojiro tried to defeat him with his Bankai. Though he failed to defeat him, he left a permanent scar on Yamamoto's forehead, crossing his earlier scar. Others began to refer to him by a different name due to the new scar, but Chojiro refused to use this new name. As a result, Yamamoto decided to call himself Genryusai. Approximately 1,000 years ago, Yamamoto became the captain commander of the Gotei 13. Around the same time, he failed to kill Yawatch, although he did kill several of his Quincy subordinates, including Hubert, Zydritz, and Argola. On various occasions, Yamamoto would catch the young Shunsui Kairaku sneaking into his room. On one particular instance, he scolded the boy for doing so. When Shunsui asked about a painting of a dark silhouette within a field of fire, Yamamoto explained how the painting was of a monster which appeared in Soul Society a long time ago. He stated it had appeared at a time when Soul Society was facing a difficult situation, and the monster's appearance had made the situation worse. Yamamoto stated it was unlikely to return, but if it did, its return would mark Yamamoto's last day in Soul Society. At some point, Yamamoto came across Sajin Kamamura and gave him the opportunity to join the Gotei 13, despite him not being a human soul. Sometime shortly after Kenpachi Zaraki joined the Gotei 13, Yamamoto forced him to learn kendo because he had not learned any formal swordsmanship training, having bypassed those normally necessary qualifications due to the way he attained his position. Concerned by the devastation which Kenpachi could cause if he were to ever rebel after growing even stronger, Central 46 had Yamamoto stop the training after just one day. Turn back the pendulum arc. Approximately 110 years ago, Yamamoto was noted as being the oldest captain among the Gotei 13, followed by Retsu Unohana, Shunsui, and Yukitake. It was stated the four of them had been captains of the Gotei 13 for at least 100 years at this point. Pushing Kisuke Urahara into the 1st Division headquarters so he could start the promotion ceremony, Yamamoto explained how 7 days ago, there was an order to promote the 12th Division Captain Kiryo Hikifune, which would leave her position open. Notifying the various captains of the opening, he asked them to submit nominations for the selection of a new captain. Within a short period of time, he got a recommendation from 2nd Division Captain Yoruchi Shihoin to promote her third seat, Kisuke Urahara. The following day, Yamamoto called Urahara in so he could take the captain's proficiency test, administered by himself, 4th Division Captain Retsu Unohana and 6th Division Captain Jinrei Kuchiki, so they can confirm Urahara is qualified to be a captain. Having satisfied his three superiors, the three senior captains appointed Urahara the new captain of the 12th Division. 10 years later, Yamamoto called an emergency meeting of the captains of the Gotei 13, where he gave an intelligence report on the disappearances of 9th Division Captain Kensei Mugiruma and Lieutenant Mashiro Kuna, who had previously been sent out to investigate the disappearance of other 9th Division members. As he stated he would choose 5 captains to form an investigation team, a very winded and frantic Urahara showed up to ask permission to go with the investigation team, for he had previously seen his lieutenant, Hayori Saragaki, go to the site of the disappearances. Declining to grant this, Yamamoto, continuing with the meeting, selected 3rd Division Captain Rojuro Odoribashi, 5th Division Captain Shinji Hirako, and 7th Division Captain Lave Kawa. Telling them to head to the campground, he ordered Yoruchi to stand by, while the remaining captains present were to stay behind and guard the Siriidii. Yamamoto ordered Unohana to prepare her relief stations for casualties. When Unohana insisted she should tend to the wounded at the site of the disappearances, Yamamoto stated he could not send healers without knowing the full extent of the situation. Upon the arrival of the captain of the Kido Corps, Tessai Tsukabashi, and his lieutenant, Hachijin Ashoda, Yamamoto, asking Tessai if he had heard the news of the disappearances, told him he wanted the two of them to head to the campground as well. Interrupting, Shunsui asked if it was a good idea to send both the captain and lieutenant of the Kido Corps when they had no idea what was going on. When Yamamoto asked what he would suggest, Shunsui told him they should send his lieutenant, Lisa Yadamaru. With the squad formed, Yamamoto sent them out to investigate the disappearances. After Isshin Shiba fought White, he reported back to Yamamoto. Pointing out how he had taken action without permission, Yamamoto stated his quick actions kept casualties low and damage to a minimum, and therefore he would not punish Isshin. As Isshin turned to leave, Yamamoto, suspecting Isshin was leaving out information, asked if there was something else worth mentioning, which Isshin denied. Appearance. Yamamoto is a fair-skinned man of average height. The oldest captain in the Gotei 13, he has aged into an elderly man with a bald head, visible wrinkles, hooked nose, and pronounced cheekbones. He has red eyes, long eyebrows, long mustache, and a hip-length white beard secured by a purple band crossing down it. He has many scars on his body, with the two most prominent being a pair of long scars crossing above his right eye, one of which was left by his battle with his lieutenant. In addition to the standard Shinigami uniform, he wears a captain's long-sleeved haori draped over his back instead of actually wearing it, with its size being greatly exaggerated. Despite his old and frail demeanor, often standing in a hunch, he in fact has a very muscular and well-defined build, which he only reveals when serious for battle, something which Shunsui Kairaku claims is not seen too often. After his brief confrontation with Sosuke Aizen, Yamamoto lost his left arm. When he was much younger, Yamamoto had black hair on the sides of his head, and was bald on top. He had a tuft of hair sticking up at the back of his head in a topknot. He had thick but more manageable eyebrows and mustache with no beard. He had a single large scar on his forehead, which earned him the nickname Ijisai due to its shape. He had a prominent crease on his forehead and beneath his eyes, and shallow cheeks. He wore the typical black outfit of a Shinigami, with the addition of a sleeveless captain's haori worn appropriately. Personality. As the captain commander of the Gotei 13, Yamamoto is highly respected by most of the Shinigami, most notably Sujin Kamamura, who views Yamamoto as a benefactor who saved his life. The embodiment of conviction, Yamamoto follows the laws and regulations of Soul Society to the letter, and expects the same of others. He is not a man to tolerate insubordination, and is vocal with those who attempt to act in such a manner. He is quick to anger in the face of possible betrayal and can be quite aggressive in combat. He has a habit of referring to those he faces in battle as youngster, and he refers to a battle as a beating or punishment. When in a state of peace, he carries himself with an air of frailty, to the point where he fell asleep standing while awaiting Shunsui Kairaku's arrival for a meeting. Due to years of experience, Yamamoto very rarely shows any sign of distress or surprise, usually responding by opening one or both of his eyes, which are partially closed slits for the majority of the time. Yamamoto is very loyal to Soul Society, and takes his duties very seriously, expecting the same from the rest of the Gotei 13. His loyalty is so great, he is willing to sacrifice himself and the Gotei 13 in order to defeat Aizen, believing it to be their duty to lay down their lives for the sake of the Soul Society if necessary. Yamamoto becomes visibly angry when Shunsui, Byakuya Kachiki, and Kenpachi Zaraki lose their haori and show little regret. To him, the haori represents their status as captains. Inversely, he prefers not to involve allies who are not part of the Gotei 13, particularly humans, as he requested Ichigo Kurosaki to move to safety, and did not request for Orihime Inoue to repair the left arm he sacrificed for Edo Keiso. Despite his stern and steadfast personality, it is not to say he has no compassion and admiration, even for his enemies, as he was reluctant to strike down Wonderweiss Margila for his childish form and personality, only managing to get through this when Wonderweiss Resurrection makes him no longer look like a child, and felt pity for him that Sosuke Aizen stripped him of all his higher mental capacities except emotions, mainly fear of death. He commended the Trace Bestias for their bravery of attacking him with only one arm each, and struck them down without killing them. Yamamoto felt particularly furious when Driscoll Bursey utilized his Lieutenant Chojiro Sasakai's stolen Bankai, considering the inferior power to that of the original wielder as an insult to Chojiro's memories and hard work. Yamamoto brutally burned Driscoll to cinders, showing his immense respect for a longtime friend and subordinate. Yamamoto appreciates Eastern cultures, and is a master at the Japanese tea ceremony. He dislikes the Western traditions preferred by his lieutenant Chojiro Sasakaibe. Yamamoto holds a tea session every month in the 1st Division quarters for every member of his division. He plaits his own beard and arranges its ends once a month, and likes to be rubbed down with a dry towel while exposed to the sun on his balcony. Yamamoto was apparently shameful of his past actions. He once referred to a painting of his past self as a monster that brought the Soul Society further turmoil when it was in a period of instability. Yawatch noted 1,000 years ago, Yamamoto was a demon himself, using any necessary means to defeat his enemies, and treated humans and his own subordinates alike as expendable pawns. It was only after defeating the Quincy and attaining peace did Yamamoto live with honor and justice that led him to hesitate in sacrificing people heedlessly. Powers and abilities. Master Swordsman. As the founder of the Shino Academy and a warrior with over 2 millennia of combat experience, Yamamoto is the most powerful swordsman in Soul Society. Few would hope to come out alive from a fight with him. Yamamoto fought 2 of the strongest captain-level Shinigami in history, Shunsui Kairaku and Jushiro Yukitake, simultaneously and emerged without any sign of injury. His skill in swordsmanship is great enough to take down his opponent with a single precise strike. Hidetsum, Nadajiri, the first, killing stroke, a precision cut of extreme force and speed which can slice through large, multi-story high opponents. The opponent is killed with one swift slash so precise, they are not even aware of it until after it has taken place. Anabi, Oni Fire. Yamamoto takes his Zanpakuto in its sealed cane form and thrusts it at his opponent, punching a large hole in their body. This technique was effective against a multiple-story high opponent like Aion. Hakuda Master. Even without his Zanpakuto, Yamamoto remains a highly skilled and dangerous combatant and has proven himself to wield similar mastery of hand-to-hand combat as with his swordsmanship. He effortlessly caught a strike from the deceptively fast Aion. Yamamoto can deliver powerful blows which can smash through a spada-level arrow, and block the majority of multiple punches from a multi-armed opponent. Ikatsu, Single Bone, a powerful punch used by Yamamoto against Wonder Weiss. Using this technique, Yamamoto destroyed much of Wonder Weiss' abdomen and sent him flying along a city street and into a building, destroying it. Sakatsu, Double Bone. Stronger than Ikatsu, it is a powerful two-fisted punch used by Yamamoto against Wonder Weiss. The attack can completely destroy an opponent with a single blow. Kido Master. Yamamoto's knowledge of Kido is so great, he can perform them without calling out their names while retaining their great potential power, whereas most users require a name to do so, if not a full incantation. He can produce immensely powerful barriers to protect him from all but the strongest of attacks. He can cast a level 96 Heido without incantation to great effect. Shuinpa Master. Yamamoto is highly skilled and experienced in the art of Shuinpa, outracing Shunsui Kairaku and Jushiro Yukitake during a chase across the Siriidii. He overtook both captains, and arrived at their destination first without even being noticed by them. Master Strategist and Tactician. With his millennia of experience as a teacher and warrior, along with being the commander of the entire Godai 13, Yamamoto is a very intelligent man. He can quickly adjust to new developments and make quick decisions accordingly. He has great tactical acumen, proven by his preparations for the battle in the fake Karakura town. As noted by Aizen, Yamamoto is very cunning, setting up a trap to kill him while Aizen was focused on the Vizard and the rest of the Godai 13. He is a very perceptive man, easily deducing Captain Mayuri Kuratsuchi was hiding knowledge on the bounce. His skill at battle tactics is undeniable. As Captain Commander, he commonly sends the captains and divisions out to engage in battle, be it to relatively small or large threats, and has done so for a number of centuries. Immeasurable spiritual power. Being the most experienced Shinigami, Yamamoto possesses an extremely massive and powerful Ryoryoku. Its sheer strength is powerful enough to effortlessly break free from 4 overlapping and high-level Bakudo spells restraining him. He has served as the captain commander of the Godai 13 for over 1,000 years because there has not been a Shinigami stronger than him in all this time. Even Aizen openly acknowledges Yamamoto's power, via his Zanpakuto, as being so superior that if he were to fight directly against it, it would overpower him. Against 3 Stern Ritter, Elite Quincy with above captain-level might, Yamamoto was able to swiftly repel them. Masterful Ryatsu control. Yamamoto can exert his Ryatsu to induce fear in captain-level combatants, and can physically paralyze and possibly even choke combatants of lieutenant level and lower simply by gazing in their direction. Yamamoto's spiritual pressure has the same effect as his Zanpakuto, for it is the elemental representative of fire. He tends to glow with a fiery aura, which has the potential to burn and set his surroundings on fire without the use of his Zanpakuto. It is the formidable pressure of his Ryatsu which makes the Ryatsu itself look like flames. When Yamamoto is enraged, his Ryatsu is powerful enough to be felt all around Siriidii with tremendous force. Immense strength. In addition to his surprisingly muscular physique for his age, Yamamoto possesses tremendous physical strength. He easily and swiftly put a large hole into the chest of the monster Aion without much effort at all, using only the blunt end of his cane. With a single hand, he stopped one of Aion's strikes and overpowered it, despite it having enlarged its arm and increased its strength several folds. With one punch, he put a large hole through the chest of Wonderweiss Margila while he was in Resurrection and sent him flying back several city blocks. He tore off Wonderweiss' arms, with his bare hands, with little to no effort. With a single double-fisted strike, he shattered Wonderweiss' entire body into pieces. Immense durability. Yamamoto possesses remarkable durability. He took an onslaught of punches from Wonderweiss' multiple arms twice, and came out completely unfazed by the assault, with no more than simple scratches. He sustained an explosion of flames which had the power to incinerate all of Karakura town and a great area around it. In his younger years, he challenged Chojiro to defeat him with his newly achieved Bankai, and in the end only suffered a light scar on his forehead. 2,000 years later, he would take on a barrage of powerful lightning strikes from Chojiro's fully mastered Bankai and only be singed by its power, though he stated it became weaker from Driscoll Bursey's usage. He can easily deflect a giant Heilig file from a Sternritter with one hand without any noticeable damage done to his being. Immense endurance. Despite his old age, Yamamoto can fight for extended periods of time, even when outnumbered, with no visible signs of exhaustion. He can take direct attacks from others unfazed. He can endure being impaled on a sword without so much as flinching from the perceived damage, even when the blow is dealt by the likes of Aizen, a powerful opponent. Even after being bifurcated by Yawatch, Yamamoto survived and managed to grab onto his cloak. Zanpakuto. Ryujin Jaka, flowing blade-like flame, viz., flowing blade young flame. Yamamoto's Zanpakuto is the oldest and most powerful fire-type Zanpakuto, and has greater offensive power than all other Zanpakuto in Soul Society. In its sealed form, Ryujin Jaka usually takes the appearance of a wooden staff, which can be used like a spear. At any time, Yamamoto can remove this disguise by peeling off the wood, revealing its true form of a standard katana, with a dark purple handle and a circular hand guard. After Yamamoto was killed, Ryujin Jaka, now scorched and shattered, was returned to the 1st Division barracks. Shirkai. Its Shirkai command is, reduce all creation to ash, Bansho Isai Kaijin to nace, viz., all things in the universe, turn to ashes. The release of his Zanpakuto comes with an extreme release of Ryatsu, affecting all in the area, and can be felt for miles upon miles across all of the Siriidii. Shirkai special ability. When released, the blade of Ryujin Jaka is engulfed in fire. The aura of this weapon incinerates everything and anything which Yamamoto waves the sword at, changing it into nothing more than ash, and engulfs the surrounding landscape in a blazing firestorm, the heat of which is intense enough to scorch the sky and consume the clouds. Only powerful fighters such as Shunsui and Yukatake can resist it, but even then only indirectly. Even in its Shirkai, Ryujin Jaka is powerful enough to fight against the Shirkai of 2 other captains simultaneously, both of whom had the reputation of being the strongest captains in Soul Society while together. Unlike most other Zanpakuto, resealing Ryujin Jaka does not deactivate any ability already used against an opponent, proven when Yamamoto imprisons Sosuke Aizen, Jin Ikamaru, and Kaname Tozen. Jikaku Enjo, Fortress Blaze. This technique creates an immense wall of flame, which surrounds the target and forms a huge contained sphere of flame in which to imprison enemies. It is immensely powerful, imprisoning 3 captain-level Shinigami, namely Aizen, Jin, and Tozen, for a significant amount of time. Taimatsu, Torch. This technique allows Yamamoto to create a great inferno with a simple wave of Ryujin Jaka. The fire generated by the attack completely consumes whatever is caught within it until only ashes remain. The flames created by Ryujin Jaka can be controlled, with great precision, by Yamamoto to attack only the targets he chooses, and he has power over the intensity of the flames. Enetsu Jigaku, Flames of Hell create 7 or more immense pillars of flame which surround an area. The intent of this technique is to trap the opponent in the caged inferno and destroy them. The power of this technique can destroy everyone caught in its vicinity, including Yamamoto himself. These flames can incinerate an area much greater than Karakura towns. Bankai, Zenka no Tachi, Longsword of the Remnant Flame, viz., Blade of Ember. In its Bankai, the blade takes the form of an ancient and worn katana, severely scorched by fire. Bankai special ability. Upon activation, any flames previously produced by Ryujin Jaka are absorbed into the blade. Zenka no Tachi incorporates the full power of Yamamoto's flames into the blade. The flames within the blade burn anything it cuts out of existence. Zenka no Tachi has the side effect of depleting the moisture in an entire area, at least the size of the Siriidii, causing the air and the water to dry up. Even Toshiro Hitsugaya's Bankai, Daiguren Hyarinmaru, cannot be used, for its ice melts due to the intense heat of Zenka no Tachi. No flames are visible as it cuts. Yamamoto claims releasing his Bankai clads both his blade and his body in the flames of the sun. Even Retsu Unohana believes that Zenka no Tachi's flames could incinerate the entirety of Soul Society if left active for too long. Zenka no Tachi, Higashi, Kyoku Jitsujin, Longsword of the Remnant Flame, East, Rising Sun Edge automatically activated at release. This ability concentrates the intense flames of the sword along the tip of the blade. It neither burns nor erupts, but anything it touches is eradicated to nothingness. Even the defensive power of the Wandenreika's Blood Vene cannot stand up against this technique. Zenka no Tachi, Nishi, Zanjitsu Goki, Longsword of the Remnant Flame, West, Remnant Sun Prison Garb automatically activated at release. This ability is unseen by the eyes of anyone else unless Yamamoto wills it to be seen. It engulfs his body in heat which reaches a temperature upwards of 15 million degrees. Therefore, it becomes impossible to even touch him while he is using his Bankai. The level of heat produced by this technique is so high, it would not actually appear in the form of flames. Zenka no Tachi, Minami, Kaka Jumano Kushi Daizojin, Longsword of the Remnant Flame, South, Great Burial ranks of the 10 trillion fire dead impaling the tip of his sword into the ground. Yamamoto calls upon the corpses and ashes of the dead who were killed by his flames to come forth and fight on his behalf. They emerge from a rupture in the ground which comes with enough force to decimate Kirchenlied, Sankt Swinger. Using the heat of his sword on their ashes, he can rouse all the people he has killed, allowing the corpses to become his limbs and attack whomever he deems as his enemy until they become dust. He can bring forth any specific corpse that he wishes, allowing him to inflict psychological damage upon those with connections to those he has slain. Zenka no Tachi, Kita, Tenchi Kaijin, Longsword of the Remnant Flame, North, Heaven and Earth end in ashes, a slash of concentrated fire and heat which incinerates whatever it touches out of existence. Weaknesses. Zanpakuto. Wonderweiss Margila, temporary Wonderweiss is the only modified Arankar in existence, having been designed for the sole purpose of nullifying the powers of Ryujin Jaka. Upon his resurrection, Wonderweiss prevents the blade from creating any new flames, while sealing the already created flames into his own body. Should Wonderweiss be killed, the flames would burst with explosive force. Time limit / collateral damage, Bankai. Because of the extremely intense heat which emanates from both Yamamoto's blade and body, he can only wield Zenka no Tachi for a short amount of time, and prolonged use of it will eventually destroy his opponent, Soul Society, and even himself.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.